Urzila Carlson, how fantastic.
Andrew Whiteside, thank you so much for having me.
Do you know it's been 7 years
Is that how long?
since I interviewed you?
Wow, that's how long ago I got citizenship.
And you were not brand new to comedy. When I interviewed you, you'd started, I think you were even on 7 Days at that point.
Yeah, but I started that real early on, so that was like real early on.
Now the book, so it's a book you've had out before, but you've updated it.
Yeah, I released the book and then like 2 years ago, I think, and then but in that time, so much has happened because I've got the Netflix special and...
Which you plug a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I have to because I want people to watch it so that I can get my own one, because at the moment you have to go through comedians of the world and look up Australia, New Zealand, and then I'm there. So I want other people to watch it, so Netflix go, everyone's watching this, we should give our own one so you can just see me in the lineup when you open Netflix. You don't have to go through another window.
So the book, I really enjoyed it. I found some interesting things about you that I didn't know about. And one of the biggest is you're never going to be a diplomat because you pissed off the entire country of Colombia.
I did.
Which I hadn't heard about.
I made a joke about, you know, cocaine and Colombians because they're the #1 manufacturer of cocaine in the world. But what I didn't know then, and what the editors didn't know, is they're very touchy on that subject. They don't like to be reminded of the fact that they are the world's #1 supplier. So I got over 8,000 death threats in 1 month. It was so bad that Facebook and Instagram shut down my social media for 2 weeks because they couldn't stop the, you know, the hatred coming in. And I just stopped Twitter for a couple of weeks. I just kind of went invisible. I learned a lot of interesting things about Colombia because a lot of them said to me, hey, you fat pig, go learn something about Colombia. Well, I learned a lot about Colombia. I found a very interesting documentary called Something Love. It's about Colombians and donkeys.
Clearly not Urzila Love.
No, no, I could never go to Colombia. They said that too. They said, don't come to us.
What's bizarre is always the death threat stuff, and you didn't kill a baby.
Some of the stuff they said, I was like, hell. You know, because they go, we're a good people. I go, not by what I've seen on Twitter or Instagram. I'm going to go with nah.
So I have a couple of questions about the book. So you shared a lot that's quite traumatic and tragic. I mean, it's not a rose-tinted book by any stretch of the imagination.
No, because I do want honesty out there, and I do want to properly share, you know, because I always feel like sometimes I read people's autobiographies and I'm like, I've learned nothing about this person. I know nothing more than I did before. So when I started writing, I'm like, I want to talk about, like, my dad was a violent alcoholic, so I talk about that. And, you know, like bad stuff that happened during my childhood. It happened, so I'll share that. But then there's also stuff that I go, it won't really serve anything by sharing it, so I won't.
So it was quite cathartic in some way?
Yeah, but also, like, I never saw a therapist, or, you know, I guess...
Is comedy your therapist?
Yeah, because, I mean, it's like, it's free for me. I just talk about it. No, I guess... Also, I'm of that age, I think, because I'm in my mid-40s, we sort of just get on with it, you know. But then after I wrote the book and I chatted to my brother and my sister, because I would check stuff with them, you know, because your memory is from one angle and then you get the other angles from them. And then I realised that there's so much that I've never processed, or I've never even revisited till I wrote the book, that I now started seeing a therapist that's sort of helping me, you know, with like just talking through stuff where I go, I didn't even think that was still in there, but it's obviously still... Yeah, so now I'm like, geez, having a therapist is great. Everyone should get one.
And will any of that end up in a Netflix special that you're going to get?
Yes, of course. I will be talking about it in my Netflix special.
So what I found really interesting about it is that with the stuff that was obviously unpleasant for you to go through, and the stuff with your dad, I didn't feel sorry for you because you don't feel sorry for you in the book.
Some of the stuff is really sad that I share in the book that I think I can't do that on stage because, you know, if someone else in the audience had gone through the same thing, I don't want to remind them at a comedy show where they just want to have a laugh and a glass of wine with friends, and now I'm reminding them of something. So it's in the book, but it's sort of just, this is our experience, this is how we dealt with it, you know.
But sometimes someone sharing a funny story that you can relate to because something very similar happened to you, even if it was traumatic, can actually be helpful as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, someone's like the losing a baby. I did a show a couple of years ago, Unacceptable, where I talk about, you know, miscarriages and people losing babies, and but I don't try and make that bit funny. So I talk about all the stuff that I find unacceptable, you know, from bad body odor to, you know, teenagers not doing their share, doing the dishes, whatever. And then I talk about losing a baby, and then after that, I bring it back to being funny. But I just kind of put it out there. Go, this is what happened. And the fact that it affects 1 in 4 couples and that no one talks about it, I find that unacceptable. And then, you know, sort of how I dealt with it versus how my wife dealt with it. And then how our friends dealt with it, and that's how I bring the funny back into it. But yeah, then, you know, as soon as I reintroduce a joke, like the first joke, people are almost like, is it okay? You know, but then, and heaps of people afterwards had said, you know, it was very helpful that people talked about it. And then some people go, we had a miscarriage this morning, still came to the show because we said to our friends we'll come, and because we never told them we were expecting a baby, they didn't know, so we didn't want it to be weird. And I'm like, you went through one of the most traumatic things you'll go through as a couple, and you just still came to a comedy show.
Urzila, great to see you. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me. I'll see you in 7 years.